button, LT, before we lose this magic. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Longbox Guys. With me, as always, are some of my very best friends since I was a very little kid. Josh Hopper, how you doing and what are you drinking?
I'm doing pretty good, and I have a Haze, their Peach-tastic IPA from Treehouse Brewing.
I still like peach. Never did. Mikey, how you doing and what you drinking? It looks like, I'm going on a limb here, a cider.
You are correct. I am drinking a watermelon cider from the Tennessee Cider Company. Still working on getting Josh some more bottles. You're welcome.
Mikey, are you on a subscription with them?
How many did you bring back from Tennessee? You don't know me.
I was like, you know what? If the Bandit can do it, I can do it.
I am north southbound and down. Loaded up and I'm going.
Janet kept on asking why I called her the Iceman the whole way back, but the hell with that.
Well, it's Snowball. You were close.
Whoa.
And I was wondering why you called your wife Snowball too, but
it all makes sense.
It all makes sense now.
That was the woman before my wife.
Oh my God, I remember that conversation and it was awesome. Long story short, my wife used with a Snowball. You had the good sense not to marry yours. LT, how you doing? What are you drinking?
I'm doing okay. I am drinking some Grindstone's 12-year-old scotch, and it is delicious.
It sounds delicious. I myself have what we call a strange tale, which is 3 different scotches I just happen to have near the bar, and I pour them all in a glass. Delicious. Kind of. If nothing else, it's really going to help me sleep tonight. Speaking of sleeping tonight we're going to be talking about the Sandman. At least our good friend LT is. And we're going to be talking a little about Neil Gaiman's Sandman. And we're talking a little bit about the new TV show, which I finally started watching. I've been 2 episodes in. And it's good. I mean, good. Good writing, good visuals. More expensive looking than I thought it might be. I had a good time. LT, why don't you give us a little background on Neil Gaiman's version of the Sandman?
That's not what we're doing. We're doing Garrett Sanford, Jack Kirby's Sandman. Next week,
we're doing Jack Kirby's Sandman. I'm doing my own thing.
I thought we were doing Neil Gaiman's Sandman this week.
No, we were going in chronological order.
Christ.
You don't know we're in the. All right, you're right. We're doing. Who's Sandman again?
Jack Kirby and Joe Simon created.
And who's Jack Kirby again?
The Sandman back in the 1970s.
1970s Sandman. That's good because that'll lead into the show a little bit because some of the iconography is directly related to that. Tom, LT, would you like to tell us a little bit about Jack Kirby?
I would love to. He was created back in 1972 to 1976-ish.
It didn't take 4 years to create him.
Well, that's when that's when the run was.
Man, we got to get this character nailed down. Let's be back here on Thursday. Everyone bring 3 ideas and no wrong answers.
It's created in the 70s, all right? He's a product of the 70s just like the rest of us.
So for those of you who are wondering who Jack Kirby and Joe Simon are, they were also the creators of Captain America. Jack Kirby was one of the most prolific writers and creators of comic book history. He and Stan Lee basically created Marvel Comics from scratch. And then in the 1970s, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had a split. Kirby went over to DC where he created the Fourth World, Darkseid, and all those guys. And then he decided to team up with his old partner, Joe Simon, and create. Take it away, LT.
Created the Sandman. First appearance is in, let's see.
Sandman number 1?
Sandman number 1, 1974. And he also had 2 assistants, Brute and Glob, and they traveled in the time stream. Or right now, not the time stream, the dream stream.
The dream stream. Quick aside, real quick. Who can name some of Jack Kirby's real name and some of his aliases? Because he has like 7 of them. Anybody?
I don't know, but I know in the 90s, the Dream Stream had like Michael Jordan, Akeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing.
The Fridge, Perry. Go on. I'm sorry, LT. Go on. But
this really wasn't one of like Kirby's more famous creations. I mean, like he has done so many more popular things than this, and yet, this is just like tiny little thing. And Neil Gaiman wanted to kind of bring this back, and DC was like, no, we want you to do something totally different, which will lead into next week. But
it was the elevation of Sandman to a mystical being rather than
than superhero-ish,
than a tertiary effect, right? Of that incarnation.
And so you also have to remember that in order to maintain copyright, comic book companies have to republish their characters every once in a while and refresh them. Otherwise, they lose the rights to them. So you
have to do something new and fresh.
Yeah, they could publish back issues. It doesn't matter as long as they're still publishing. They maintain those rights. So Kirby's idea for the Sandman, I'm sure DC was like, "Oh, we haven't had a Sandman comic in a while. That sounds great. Whatever you want, Jack." Because it was only supposed to be one issue, but sales were so great for it. They were like, let's do more. And then they weren't great. So, because if you've read any of Jack Kirby's stuff, Jack Kirby really liked psychedelic shit. And the Sandman, I think, is a great example of some psychedelic shit where he was like, it's all in the dreaming and the dream stream where Brute and Glob are hanging out, and they're actually nightmares that are under control by the Sandman, and he's stopping bad things from happening.
And they were like, that's really cool. And then he introduced the Nightmare Wizard, and they're like, that's the worst name ever. Or we're gonna have to unrubber. If there was a rubber stamp here, I'm taking it away.
I think he was just making a fairy tale for children, right? That's what the Sandman originally was. So he was just taking it to the superhero realm, right?
Either that or the acid trip wore off.
I don't think it was acid. I'm pretty sure that's all pot.
Okay.
Who knows? Let's not judge.
It was the early 70s, and they made it. It was the sort of the Dragon of the late 60s. The costume was awful. And,
oh Lord, I'm looking at it right now. It's
bad.
It's bad.
It's Ultraman bad.
So
yeah.
But what it did was it kept the dream. I didn't mean to say that. It kept the dream alive. But it did. It kept the dream alive. It's really what it did. It kept the property in DC's hands long enough for someone to find it and give it its proper due, or what I don't think, not its proper due, but something that nobody expected out of that property.
Right. Yeah, so after Kirby wrote Kirby and Simon teamed up. So Joe Simon wrote the first issue. Kirby drew the issue, and then Wally Wood took over the pencils, and somebody else took over writing after the first issue, Michael Fleischer. So although people paid for the Simon Kirby, like there was kind of a bait and switch, right? Everybody thought, okay, this is what it's going to be. And then they got a different team creating it. So it didn't last very long, but it did have an impact on comic book writers. Roy Thomas used this in his Infinity Incorporated series. Paul Levitch used it in the Justice League. And, Neil Gaiman famously used it in the Sandman series. He made it part of the mythology of the whole dreaming, and explained why Garrett Sanford was the way he was. So the basis for this character is a little shoddy, but as you go along, the other writers and artists fill in the gaps that make this character much more important than he ever was when he actually had his own comic.
His own property, yeah.
Josh, I think I just smelled your dog's fart.
It's tough.
That's how bad that was.
I lit a candle in here. It's not fighting the good fight. I'm just saying. Yeah, I think this is sort of like one of those pillar properties where it, in and of itself, it didn't have enough value to carry the book itself, but a lot of people took that rendition and then started branching out from here, and that's sort of where we get our modern version of Sandman. I didn't actually. I'm gonna say I perused through some of these books because reading them did not seem like a great idea to me.
LT, did you read any of them?
I did not read any of the Jack Kirby Sandman books, but I did read a book that somebody had written using that character that was on DC Infinite. So
the Justice League or the Infinite?
No, it was an actual Sandman book on DC Infinite. But I forget, it was like Jack Kirby Sandman special. It was done by somebody else.
I read some of those books back in the day. I remember the costume, even though I wasn't very prepared for this week because I thought we were doing the other Sandman. I did read some of those way back in the day. I remember Brute and Glob, and at the time, I was younger, and they captured my imagination. I enjoyed them, but they were definitely not my go-tos. But if I saw them in a stack, I always went through them.
So they're actually kind of hard to get. You can find them on eBay, but the Sandman #1 by Simon and Kirby is going to cost you way more than the story that you're going to get out of it. The other issues are a little easier to find. Although I think what was cool about it too, it's for a child, and it's that's what the story was. It's for children to tell the story of Garrett Sanford, who's like a hero in the dream stream, that he has two nightmarish helpers, Brute and Glob, and he's trying to protect children in their dreams from being injured by this, what was it, a wizard?
The Nightmare Wizard.
The Nightmare Wizard. Yeah, it's not great, but later on, Sanford does make a couple of appearances.
I was going to say.
First, you going to talk about Wonder Woman?
No, I was going to talk about Infinity Inc.
Okay. Well, let's start with Wonder Woman, though, because that's his first appearance. Outside of that, he makes some appearances in Wonder Woman where he's talking to Steve Trevor and Diana Prince, and it kind of makes like a veiled reference that Diana has inappropriate dreams.
Really?
Yeah, so like he sees her dreams and is like, you need to calm down. And then he also makes an appearance in the Justice League where Dr. Destiny has captured him, which plays perfectly into the Sandman series later on, where they talk about Dr. Destiny and also about Garrett Sanford. And Garrett Sanford has gone insane, and that's when LT series he was going to talk about takes over.
So Sandman appears in Infinity Inc. like number 49 and 50. one of the members of Infinity Inc. has like died, but he's not really died. He's gone into the dreaming, and he takes over the role as Sandman because he can appear for an hour each night, and he does so to the love of his life, Lyda from Infinity Inc. And Nucleon thinks that there's some creep hanging out by this girl that he loves, and so he battles Sandman, and yet it's really the guy that loves Lyda, that Lyda loves, and it's this whole big thing, and such. So it's like a different incarnation of Sandman. But
Right,
it's Jack Kirby's character Sandman, but it's not Garrett Sanford.
Right. So Hector Hall, who after A Crisis on Infinite Earths, they combined Earth 1 and Earth 2 into one storyline, right? There was no separation. So the Golden Age Wonder Woman was Queen Hippolyta, and she had sex with Steve Trevor in World War II. They had an Amazonian daughter, Lyda, who was half Amazonian. Hector Hall is the son of Carter Hall and Shira Hall, Hawkman and Hawkwoman. And he was originally the Silver Scarab. He dies, but he doesn't die. He goes into the dreaming, and he can spend 1 hour at a time with the love of his life. Lyda is also pregnant with a baby that she got pregnant by Hector while he was in the dreaming, which all plays into exactly how Neil Gaiman puts it into the Sandman. And even not to spoil too much for the TV show, you're going to see there's Hector Hall and Lyda are characters in there along with the Brute and Glob, although Brute and Glob are kind of melded into one character.
The Blob.
So that whole storyline kind of plays out in the Neil Gaiman Sandman and also in the Netflix TV show.
And I think one of the things we see as Kirby sort of trails off his time at DC Comics to go back to Marvel, he's actually in sort of the last maybe unknowingly 6, 8, 9 months before he leaves DC, he's still writing DC Comics and planning on going. He's in negotiations to return to Marvel. He's not at DC very long. But what some of the stuff he leaves behind is he leaves all. So he sort of mentioned the bait and switch, right, for Kirby as he starts writing this book, and it gets immediately put onto another writer, another artist, because Kirby's already negotiating going back to Marvel at this point. But what he leaves DC with a couple of important things: a roadmap for what he thought the Sandman character was going to become, which sort of is what Neil Gaiman picks up and carries off into what we know as the Sandman today. But more importantly for DC as a company, he had already floated and sort of succeeded in showing DC the idea or the concept of trade paperbacks, of collected works. And before Kirby goes back to Marvel, DC sort of catches this and starts doing trade publications before Marvel does, and sort of gets a jump start on that as from an industry perspective, based on what Kirby thought the market would bear and do.
And one other side note, Ambush Bug wears Garrett Sanford's costume and tries to become the sidekick for Morpheus. And Ambush Bug Nothing Special, which is, if you're going to read any of the Garrett Sanford comics, don't read the Ambush Bug Nothing Special.
Why not?
No, just because Ambush Bug's hilarious.
Oh, I thought you said don't read. I'm like, are you crazy? That's
no. Read Ambush Bug Nothing Special. Yeah. Don't read any of the other stuff.
There you go. Okay.
Just read Ambush Bug. Yeah. I love you, Ambush Bug.
I say my rosary to you and to you alone.
Dead partner.
Dead partner.
Dead partner.
So I wonder.
It's a horrible thing, but it sells comics.
Horrible thing, but it sells comics. And it gets you a lot of days of work, right, Mikey?
Well, I took leave.
Well, I took leave. I'm not a monster. Does anyone have any last words on this character?
No,
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, I think this is the dawning of the age of something that Neil Gaiman picks up and becomes really something special for DC Comics. I mean, really the heart of a huge branch of DC, the Books of Magic, the whole sort of in quotes dark version of the DC universe has something to do with Neil Gaiman, and I that's what I love about DC the most. Space and magic.
I think you're right there, because there really does seem to be like a feeling that Neil Gaiman took a lot from this and just ran with it.
Yeah, and he was told to run with it, so
yeah.
And
like when you tell Neil Gaiman to run, like he does not stop.
Just one gorgeous motherfucker running with an idea that was like a
goddamn gazelle.
Yeah.
Like in Montana. You can watch him run for 4 days and 5 days if you're standing on a tuna can. Just majestic.
So if you guys are interested in our take on Neil Gaiman's Sandman, we're going to be talking about the Netflix series next week. Join us then.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I guess that brings us to the front of the long box, Mike. What do you got at the front of the long box here, Mike?
At the front of the long box, I have One Star Squadron by the fifth long box guy, friend of the podcast, probably Tom's best friend, Mark Russell, Eisner Award winning. It is.
Josh has him on speed dial. Why is he my best friend?
It's true. Josh does have him on speed dial.
I did apologize for falling asleep on him.
Not literally.
I did not know if you knew that.
I fucking dead asleep.
Literally, if you watch the episode, Josh kind of goes out for a sec because he just
not a sec. Like
I was trying to be nice.
No, he fell asleep during the interview, but he didn't fall asleep on him physically. That's what I meant.
No, I did not. No, we're on different coasts, thankfully, for Mark's sake.
How far did you drive that day? In your defense.
Yeah, I mean it was a long. I had like broken down a campsite and drove like 8 hours, and I got home and jumped right on the podcast. I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to do this. I'm gonna have a beer," and I had a half a beer, and I was like,
"He was out. It was great.
Fucking out."
All right, so friend of the podcast.
Yeah. Mark Russell has done One Star Squadron. It is his take on what superheroes would do in order to make a living if you were not a Justice Leaguer. And it's incredible as always. The heroes are, some of them are B level, some of them are like D level. And not only are they out for hire for if you need a superhero, but they'll also do cameo appearances for you. They're doing telemarketing. The Heckler, by the way, is super good at telemarketing.
I bet. Why, you don't want this? Sell me this pen.
Oh, man, I missed the Heckler.
Red Wolf, horrible at it, but the Heckler, really good at it. Minuteman is tired of the corporate shenanigans and believes he should make more money. Red Tornado is the CEO of the current CEO of the company, and but it looks like Power Girl's gunning for his job. So if you're interested in anything that Mark Russell does, which we all are, we're gonna again highly recommend you check out One Star Squadron.
And once again, why did Stiltman just wash windows? He could be knocking these things out.
He's a freaking electrical engineer.
Why is he just working as an electrical engineer? Those guys make like $200 an hour.
Yeah, because it's a lot easier to just reach into people's windows and take shit.
Because he built a Stiltman outfit.
Did
Once you
he?
build a Stiltman outfit, what are you gonna do with it?
Did he? Tommy, what are you in the back of the Longbox?
I have Joe Kubert Presents. This is back from 2013.
What was that name again?
Joe Kubert.
One more time.
Joe Kubert.
Kubert.
Yeah.
I
Is
feel
that how
like
you
you're
pronounce
saying.
it?
I don't know
I
what
think
you're
it's
saying.
Kubert.
Yeah.
I think it's Kubert, but it could be Kubert. I don't know.
I don't know.
Could you spell it?
I'm not a
I really
linguist.
don't know what you're saying. I'm not
Kubert.
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 Maybe Kubert. All right.
Anyway, so this is an anthology series that Joe Kubert put together. Kubert. Joe put together.
Don't encourage him.
Joe put together of him and people that he has fondness for back when he was alive.
And in case you're wondering, I just looked it up. It's Kubert.
Kubert. Joe
Okay.
Kubert.
This should be of interest to you, Tom, because this has definitely got World War II stuff in it, right?
Yeah, I was going to say this is a fantastic Navy storyline from World War II.
Go on.
That was drawn and written by a person that was actually serving on a Navy vessel, the USS Defense. So, but it's an anthology story. Like different artists have taken on different pieces, and it was good. Like
Sounds
4
good.
issues in, still great.
How many issues altogether?
There's like 6 issues on DC Infinite.
All right.
So Kubert has started his own school, which is probably the most famous comic book school there is.
But also he famously made Sergeant Rock what it was.
Yeah.
His covers, if you look at his covers from the 1960s, they're all fucking amazing. And a lot of the, and he did mostly war comics, but it was prolific and all that stuff.
That's up in Vermont, right?
And he also did a lot of work on Hawkman.
Work.
Yeah.
The Joe Kubert School of Cartoon and Graphic Art and is in Dover, New Jersey.
Dover, New Jersey. I don't know why I keep thinking it's in Vermont.
There's probably a Dover, Vermont.
Probably. There might be a Dover. That might be it. I do remember some of these covers and some of these comics from way back in the day and some of the stuff he did in Sergeant Rock and those war comics. And you're right. I do love those. So I will give that a look. That sounds really good. Thank you, LT.
Yeah. I think you would really like the Navy story that was going on.
Nice. I fallen into a weird rabbit hole of studying cats on Navy ships who got actual promotions. I have read 3 books on the subject so far, and I am not stopping. There are still more things to research.
So Connecticut, at their National Guard Armory in Hartford, has the most decorated canine. They have a display to him. This fucking dog won a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart. I can't remember what the canine's name is, but I'll find out and I'll tell everybody next week. But yeah, they've got a whole display. And when I was walking past it, I just stopped dead in my tracks. I was like, wait a second. Somebody's going to explain this to me before we take another step. But the Connecticut National Guard Armory in Hartford, really cool if you get a chance to go tour it. They have a lot.
The next time I visit you at your place, Mikey, we're definitely going because that sounds awesome. I love that kind of stuff. I love seeing animals that have served. We had a bear that served as an artillery sergeant for a while. That's actually true. And it's cool and it's great. But that's very tangential, and I apologize for that. Tangents are your thing, Josh. What do you got for us today?
I think earlier we were talking about the bait and switch, right? So where it doesn't matter if it's movies, TV, wherever. What was the worst bait and switch? for you? Like, where you were like, oh, I can't wait for this, and all of a sudden you were like, what?
What?
How do you
Highlander
switch
2?
to me? Okay, no, Mike, you can't just, man.
A low-hanging
that
fruit,
hurts.
brother. Come on, you didn't like Mario Peebles? Was that Mario Peebles in that one?
Mario Van
Yeah.
Peebles?
That might have been
First
3.
of all, there's a van in his name, and
Mario
it's down by
Van
the
Peebles?
river.
First off, there should be a van in there somewhere. What the hell? It's not a noble title.
I don't know.
First
I don't
of
know.
all,
He
there should
brought
be
it
a
up.
captain in there
He
somewhere.
brought it up.
Like, you can't say Mario Peebles without thinking about a van.
Yeah.
It's because what he's living in now. Like he's made a movie in 7 years.
Right. I always think of him from Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood.
Oh, that was good. He was good in that.
Yeah.
You know what he wasn't good in? Highlander 2.
He was not.
Island 2. Bait and switched. I agree with you,
and
Mike.
switch.
100%. It's hard to come up with a better example than that.
I was in a major city when doing a medical while I was in the Army, and I got to go see it. And I came back and told everybody in my unit, all the geeks, I was like, do not fucking go see Highlander 2 when it comes out to the movie theaters over here. It is the worst piece of fucking garbage you will ever see. And they all thought I was fucking with them. So I would be the only one who got to see this masterpiece of a movie.
So I
That's your
remember.
plan?
I remember
plan,
hearing
Ray?
when Highlander 2 was coming out. I was in an Aikido class at UMass, and somebody was like, "Yeah, I can't wait. Highlander 2 is coming out." And I'm like, "Highlander 2? They made a second one? I thought there could be only one."
It
That
was
should have been.
literally the
And there really
fucking
should have been.
logo, the theme of the first movie.
Once again, LT went to sleep at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning after you wrote that joke. God damn it, LT. How long have you been sitting on that?
Well,
All right, let's
like
move on
25
from
years.
Highlander 2. We've all recovered from it. What do you guys got for the bait and switch?
DCView mortgage servicing?
I thought you were going to say something about comicsology.
Also fair.
Well, for me, like I'm beating a dead horse to death, but the I, Frankenstein movie, which I so love the book, and the movie was just such a piece of crap, which is funny because I did go back and rewatch it because I thought, all right, Tom, come on. Forget the book.
Thought maybe there was a better edit somewhere?
No, I thought like if you forget the book, see if that movie's actually fun without the book. Yeah, it's not. I gave it a shot. I wanted to be nice. Also, I was in LARP world, which nobody understands. I was asked to be a security person, and the one of the autocrats, one of the people running it, was a friend of mine, and she dropped out, and someone I didn't know was in charge. I'm like, come on, total bait and switch. Ended up being a pretty fun event, despite the fact that it was dry as shit.
I don't understand that.
So,
Well, it was dry as shit, but everyone was pretty cool.
Also,
Yeah, that's kind of like when you, Tom, asked me to park cars in an SCA event, but really it was a lure to get me there to give me an award.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
And
that was a bait and switch.
you deserve that award because you were great.
Yeah.
oh, I remember that one time that Tom said I was going to be the referee on a wrestling tour.
That was 2 months of your goddamn life, you asshole.
Tom and Josh. Turned out I was a wrestler.
Oh, yeah. I told Mikey that he was going to be a referee, and he just had a tour with his wrestling company. And as soon as he got to San Francisco, I'm like, hey, we found a referee. I guess you're going to have to wrestle me as John Pierre LaBute. What the fuck did you pick? And the Gimme Gimme Groupie, and you were a pro wrestler for like a month of your life.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's great stories out of it.
It was a great month.
Yeah.
Admit it, asshole.
Oh, no. The tour itself was shit. But the stories we got out of it were amazing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't trade for anything.
Josh, you gonna bait and switch?
So Josh, you got a bait and switch that Tom pulled on you?
I mean,
Don't say the radios, asshole.
I can't. I can't say that without getting angry. Like, you want me to just? I will just start punching things right now. So let's not get into that. I will start punching things.
That was the name of my last sex tape.
I'm just to be safe. I'm gonna go with the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones versus the rest of it.
Wait. Can I go back and change mine to this? What was the name of that terrible TV show that we liked, LT? The Specials?
What?
No, The Specials was a movie with Mystery Men.
With the girls who had all the superpowers in Victorian England.
The Nevers.
The Nevers.
The Nevers.
Wow, that was a fucking bait switch.
God.
Jesus Christ.
It got renewed.
What are those people thinking?
The first 6 episodes maybe, were amazingly good. And then, what the shit am I watching? What the fuck? Why are they shoving shit down my throat and telling me it's cock?
So bad.
I don't know why I said that.
So bad.
But it was terrible.
It's fucking terrible.
But
yeah, Game of Thrones, like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys. Like, what the fuck were you fucking thinking, you motherfuckers? Like, great. And then, yeah.
Can I modify mine to Stephen King's It? Because that was amazing up until the end.
Yeah. Oh, it's a giant spider. Did you just fucking say that out loud, Stephen King?
Did you just spend the whole time scaring me with a clown?
And fuck you with a giant spider.
Wait, the book of the movie?
Yes.
Yes.
But anyway.
I changed this. I guess when I read the book, I changed it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something scarier.
Let's go off on a tangent on this tangent. Let me tell you about Sergeant Stubby, who is the most famous military decorated dog from World War I.
Sergeant Stubby.
Sergeant Stubby went on 4 offensives, 17 battles in total. Served
what war again?
World War I.
World War.
He would run out into no man's land and would find wounded soldiers who were still alive and would bark for the medics to come over and rescue those wounded soldiers.
So for those who don't know what no man's land was in World War I, right? There was a juxtaposition line, right, of trenches between the Allies and Western Europe that was just, there was nothing in between them. Like, it was literally just mud and razor wire, and almost nobody crossed it. And I mean, it was just an unbelievable death show if you went up into no man's land and this dog was out there finding people. Sorry, Mike.
No, that's okay. He got a Purple Heart because he was wounded by a grenade.
And
he
survived a grenade.
Yeah, he eventually, after he was retired, met 3 U.S. presidents. And there is an animated film called Sergeant Stubby, an American Hero, that came out in 2018.
Watch that tonight.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah.
All right, Sergeant Stubby.
There you go. Oh my God. There's more I found. Oh, Judy, who served in the Navy. Oh, we're going to have to do this weekly for a while. I got a whole bunch of fucking hero dogs.
I get the cats covered.
You do the cats, I'll do the dogs. You do a cat next week. Next week, I'll do a dog.
All right.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't go out on a high note there, but let's go over to plugs. Anybody got anything to plug? Anything coming up, guys?
Well, I would like to plug Sergeant Stubby. If you are the Connecticut National Guard,
we're gonna all go to Sergeant
Stubby's.
Stubby's.
Go see that.
We're gonna all go to that, right? We're gonna cry like little assholes.
Everybody should watch the Sergeant Stubby movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna watch it tonight too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
Have a Gatorade handy. Fuck. This is like the boy in the striped pajamas, but with dogs. Fuck me.
And speaking of Jack Kirby, which we weren't speaking of, I'd like to thank Kirby Crackle for providing our geek rock music every week. You can check them out at kirbycracklemusic.com. And if you're wondering, what music? It's because you're watching us on YouTube. Go ahead and listen to our podcast, which occasionally I produce. Although I'm like 3 episodes backed up. I got a little bit of producer constipation. But we'll get those out.
It was this close to the constipation joke. My damn it.
I'd like to thank GeekOrthodox.com.
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 Hello, Tammy. I'm fucking
GeekOrthodox.com.
Not doing it.
Purveyors of fine stained glass prints and Johnny Skywalker rock glasses.
You don't have it, LT. Don't
Yeah,
do it.
You're doing Clayface. You're not doing Bane.
Yeah.
Well, he's an actor.
I'm an actor.
I'm an actor.
You still don't have it, Josh.
I can't get. I gotta
That's
get.
Clayface, and you're not doing it right.
I gotta.
Anyway,
settle down.
GeekOrthodox.com, purveyors of tons of geeky things. If you want t-shirts, you got to go to ianlino.com for all of your t-shirt needs and baseball caps and such.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget the Harley Quinn cartoon because you want to have your pasta maker registered. Not bad. Don't forget. I guess that's it for pod. We don't have any cons coming up.
Now, great stories, books, and games right here in Whitensville, Massachusetts. Great comic shop, great game shop. Stop in, grab your pull list, sit down, play a few games, and also New York Comic Con. If you like Ian Lino and you love stained glass, stop in at New York Comic Con, October 6th to the 9th.
Are you gonna be there, Josh?
I might be helping out Thursday and Friday, and then I'll be home for the weekend. So.
You get the dogs.
No, Violet and her kids are coming up, so but I might help out Thursday and Friday. So stop at New York Comic Con if you want to. I don't know. Did we submit for New York Comic Con, guys?
We did. I haven't heard back.
We always get waitlisted for New York Comic Con, so we're not gonna
Every
be
year.
here. But stop by Ian Lino's booth. We'll come find us, and I will give you stuff from the Longbox Guys.
Damn right you will. And don't forget our Patreon page, which is the Longbox Guys / maybe / I can never remember, at patreon.com. It costs just $1 a month.
$1 a month.
I know, right? That's the price of a hand job with a Tenderloin back in 1972. And that would Eddie would have paid. He would have paid much more. Much more. Just for that price. And all the money does go to the Elizabeth Peabody House, which is a great little food bank that helps so many people in the Massachusetts area. And they are so very happy that you do that.
What's this podcast like to you, Tom?
This podcast to me, I guess it's like Drunk History, but for comics.
What?
And LT, New York Comic Con, is that your sector?
Well, it probably won't be my sector, actually, but yeah.
And Josh, do you have any last words of wisdom for us?
I do, Tom. And you know what I always say? I say, promote what you love, don't diss what you hate, because that's what makes us better people. Go
Damn
on
right.
to the world and bring a smile somewhere. Fuck bad energy.
Damn right.
In the ass with a 2x4.
And
No,
Josh, I'm Mike. Mike, can we leave something for you?
Yeah, go have shots with the Longbox Guys.
Boom!
Shot.
Thank you for the Longbox Guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
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 Josh.